Okay, this is probably going to be a little shaky at times, but I'm using these cables in two locations that you have problems with the with wires. One of them's under here, which is your y-axis here. As you can see, by having the cable stay inside this, the wires are never at the end flexing, particularly where they're joined onto your hot plate and your sensors. So as this moves, the cables just wind nicely through it, and then it's attached way down there. See, so they never actually move anywhere. They just kind of bend in and out of the way. Same thing occurs up here. All the wires coming from this unit. I have tons and tons of wires. You know, there's the fans, there's my LEDs, there's this fan here, there's the sensor I'm not using right now because I have set up the old-fashioned sensor here and I have a screw to adjust it. I'm having trouble with this. For now, I just bypassed it. I'm going to I'll work on that later. I needed to be able to set my z-axis accurately and very easily. So that screw makes it so easy for me. Anyway, back to this. All of these wires, they come into here, they join here, and then they go along that. So the idea is the same thing. They never bend, they never get in my way. So, for example, let me bring up my jog here, and I try to raise my z-axis. These things aren't the fastest, of course, at this point. The cables go up with it. Now, this is attached. I've glued the end piece on. So it come with a rather nice piece that worked for me. When I took it out of the Chrysler van. So you can see the cables just end up with a nice. And let me try moving my z-axis over to the right. Same thing. Wires don't get caught on anything. All that we do is we just come around, nice curve. She's not hitting. Comes all the way back. Now I've got this one because loose up here, only because when I go all the way up, see, these don't bend backwards, so I needed this to be able to, as I said, I'd be moving this camera all over the stupid place. I need this to be able to go up because they don't bend backwards. So that's just a cable tie. Moves it all the way up. You're wondering what these LEDs are. One is the hot plate. One is the extruder. Just for me, for visually on my remote cameras, I can look very quickly at that and say, oh, okay, the hot plate's on. Oh, okay, the extruder is heating up. And because I like a little bling, I will fill this hole in. I've actually designed it already, and it's going to be two colors. It's going to be black and then yellow writing saying Tundra 3D Printing. And it has a second one that fills this hole in here. Because I've got that down here right now. It's just, it's a piece that I made that fits onto GoPro mounts because that's so common. And there are tons and tons and tons on Thingiverse GoPro type arms. So I'm going to make an arm that attaches up here somewhere somewhere up here so I can swing it around, bring it, turn it sideways so I can get at the, the SD slot, real easily. Don't have to, get up from my seat, hurt my back bending over this damn thing because I couldn't reach it back there. Every time I reached back there, I could never get the damn thing, the SD card in. They suggest you print from SD. The thing is, printing from USB is if your computer suddenly gets busy, Microsoft decides to do one of its downloads without telling you about it, and your computer gets real busy, USB gets busy, and all of a sudden your printer job screws up. And if it's a 33-hour job like I did a while ago, you wouldn't be too happy. But if you run it directly from the SD card, then you're not worried about your computer shutting down. So most of my jobs run off an SD card. I'm working on a way of being able to send using Raspberry Pi from my computer after I've done all the work, sending it directly to my unit, so I don't even have to. In other words, I can write to the SD card remotely. I'll get there. I'm not there yet. So that's how my unit's set up, and that's what those cables are for. And as you see, when they're functioning, they keep all your cables all nice and neat, instead of, as you will see when you use this stuff, which I do use it, you know, I mean, I do have to go from here down. I do use it. You will find that you will like something like this 10 times better. If you're wondering, up there, that's my spool. I made the holder for it because this is my, you will recognize as, there's my CNC machine. So when I'm running ABS, which stinks to all high hell, that fan exhausts outdoors. And so I just turn that fan on, close my big door, and no smelly in the housey. And my wife then is not mad at me. If you do ABS, at some point, this is called ABS slurry, and you make one for each color. And as you can see, they've separated. It separates after a while. Like there's the black. I have trouble. So then I would spray that onto my glass plate. That's the nice thing about a glass plate. You remove the glass plate, you put it on some wax paper somewhere, and then you spray the glass plate, and you don't get this slurry all over your printer, because that would kind of gum the printer up. And it's a spray, so it's going to go where it wants to go. So that's why I like glass. I pull the glass off, I wash off the glue, I pull the glass off, I wash off my slurry. You know, if I was printing black and I now want to print white, I don't want to put black slurry on there, or maybe you might, because the guys say it kind of gives a marbly look to the bottom of whatever it is you're printing. However, so like I have white, believe it or not, that's clear, red, and yellow for now. And I made a little case stand just to hold them in, because I had this up here. Used to run my cable through it. The problem is when this gets all the way to the top, it's too tight. So now I just run the cable directly and don't worry about it. It just hangs there, doesn't do anything. Printer feeds it in. Okay, that's my printer.